Hi coaches. I just want to first off say thank you guys so much for volunteering this year for spring basketball. We did this program originally with the idea of teenagers being our coaches right after basketball season, but recently our soccer season changed and now it interferes with spring basketball, so we've kind of had to make some adjustments and get some parents involved. And I know a lot of you coaches this year are parents and aunts and uncles and teachers, and I just want to thank you guys so much for helping out and keeping this program running. And I figured it would be a lot easier just to make a video instead of trying to get everybody's schedules in to do a meeting, and just hopefully this video will answer a lot of your questions, but always feel free to text me or my husband if you guys have any questions. We do start Monday is our first practice, and Friday is our first game. And you should have your coach's packet, and that'll let you know all the times and dates, and we'll go over that right now. First off, I just want to say that our main goal for spring basketball is obviously to teach young kids how to play the game of basketball and try to get their skills a little more developed for when they enter middle school and are able to play for our JV and varsity teams. But also this is a great opportunity for us to give the gospel to some parents and family members and friends that maybe wouldn't come to church, but are more than willing to come to a basketball game. So we try to give the gospel once a night at least, and I try to spread it out through each of the games. So that is our main goal, and obviously to teach the kids how to keep, Christian character through wins and losses, and just sports in general allow kids to learn responsibility and helps sharpen their character. And so those are our main goals for spring ball. One thing, you're only going to have them 2 hours a week, but some of them do give you some difficulties, and it's important to set your rules ahead of time. Just come up with maybe 3 simple rules: to always listen, to no talking when I'm talking, things like that. Just set some ground rules right at the beginning, be firm with them. Most of them, they're there to have fun, so they're good majority of the time. But yeah, just set your guidelines, set your rules. And then also make sure that after games and practices, your kids clean up their water bottles and, maybe whatever snack or something that they've had. Especially on game days, it gets pretty dirty. So we're just trying to help Mr. Huber out with cleaning the gym, especially that last 5th grade and up. Coaches try to get your players to clean up the benches after the game. Dress code for practices. Coaches, please wear basketball shorts to your knees, and then appropriate t-shirts, whatever that may be. And then for games, we like to, dress up for games. So when I coach, I always, women are to have a skirt or dress, again, to your knees, and a blouse, or you can do a t-shirt too. I do some of my blazer shirts for game days. And then male coaches, just please have pants and a button-up shirt, or a polo shirt is fine as well, just as long as you're kind of dressed up for the game day. And also, I always try to encourage my coaches to have like a team verse that you just kind of say, a verse of encouragement that you can go over at the beginning of practice, and maybe quote right before your games or something like that. And then also always open up your practice with prayer as well, and end your practice with prayer. And then always start your practices with stretches, and before games also try to remember to stretch too. We don't want anyone getting injured. If you're going to be absent for a practice or a game, just let me know. And I actually have a group of people who couldn't commit to the entire season, but they could, just commit to a couple games and they want to help out. So I have a list of people that you could ask for help if you were to miss a game or miss a practice and need someone to come fill in. And I'll give you their contact information and you can fill them in and see if they can help you out with that. Before each practice and each game, just arrive 15 minutes early. Practices, it's okay if you're a little bit later, but games, again, the kids need to stretch and they need to do a little bit of a warm-up before each game as well. All right, so in your coach's packet, you should have, the first page should be a spring ball schedule. So that has everything that we're gonna do in regards to spring ball, even more than just our practices and our games. If you see the month of March, all of our practices are on Tuesday, all of our games on Friday. April gets a little hazy because we have some school events that interfere. You can see the first game in April. Please note that that's not on a Friday, it's on a Thursday. That's because Friday is Good Friday and we don't have school that day, so we put our game on Thursday night. And then you'll see the next week, our practices on Monday. And that was another scheduling conflict. So we had to put our practice to Monday that week instead of Tuesday. So note that as well. And then again on April 20th is a Thursday instead of a Friday. And that's because we had FACS Junior Arts program or something like that at the school, so we couldn't do it on Friday, so we had to bump that game to Thursday. And then Saturday the 22nd of April, we have our annual car wash at O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and I'll go over that when it gets closer to the date. The rest of the season's Tuesday practice, Friday game. And then in May, Friday the 26th is our award ceremony that we give. We give each kid a participation certificate, and then we hand out Christian Character Awards. Coaches, you do not have to be there for that. I hand out all the awards. The only thing that I ask of you is that you fill each award out, because we have 74 or 76 kids this season, so that's a lot of awards for me to fill out. And when I used to do it, I would always forget somebody, and I hate doing that on stage. So it's just easier for the coaches to keep track of 6 kids and make sure that they each have a certificate filled out, instead of me trying to remember 70 plus kids that I have a certificate for each one of them. And then the other thing to note about that award ceremony is the only award that we pass out is we pass out 3 awards for each division. The first division, K5 through 2nd, the 2nd division, which is 3rd and 4th grade, and then our last division, which is 5th grade and up. And each of those divisions, we will pass out a Christian Character Award. So just be throughout the season, just watch for, good Christian character. And then, at the end of the season, I'm just going to text all you coaches and ask for your votes. And then whoever you are going to nominate, and then we'll vote on it and hand out those, and I'll hand out those Christian Character Awards in May 26th. You can also see at the bottom of the schedule, it has when your practice times are and when your games times are. Those don't ever change. And then we do offer aftercare, and I'm in charge of that. And that is for 3rd and 4th grade only. And then for siblings, we also do that, but we really don't make that too much known. I don't want anyone taking advantage of it because, again, 70 plus kids, and I'm out there on the playground with a good chunk of them. So yeah, so if anyone asks about that, just go ahead and refer them to me and I can figure that out. Okay, your next one is your rosters, and I didn't have time to print this in color, I'm sorry. So one major thing is we were completely packed out of spring ball this year. We actually went on to a waiting list. This is the most kids we've ever had. Luckily, I was able to fit everybody on the roster, but we had to make some adjustments that we've never had to do before. The first adjustment is in the K5 through 2nd grade division, and it has 7 kids on your rosters, coaches, and I'll go over how we're going to handle that when I go over our rules and regulations. 3rd and 4th grade is the normal 6 kids. That's what we had last year on each team. And then 5th grade and up, that was our second adjustment that we had to do, which we have had to do that in the past. We've had to, when we have a really big 3rd and 4th grade group, we have to make that last division 5th grade and up instead of 6th grade and up. So that's what we had to do again this year. So the 5th grade and up, also, you guys are again maxed out. You have 12 kids on your roster, and that's, you know, that's what we deal with on varsity, and it is hard to get, you know, kids playing time with that many kids on your roster. But so you have 12. Also note that 5th grade and up division, those 2 coaches, is you do have special needs kids on your team that are ones in high school. So, you know, we designed this program to really be for elementary, but me being an ESE teacher, you know, that's where my heart is, for special needs kids. And I wanted somewhere that they could play, because a lot of them can't make the varsity and junior varsity teams. So that's why we have this division. And there is a few other special needs kids that are on there too, but they shouldn't give you any issues. There are 2 special needs kids. I believe one will have an aide on Mr. Perko's team. The other one will not have an aide, but he's been playing for a long time. So that's Julian Soma, and then Dima Monier too. Oh, and then also on the, it's not going to be on your paper, but Coach Perko's team did get, I just added another player to your team, Gordon Gant. But he's not an issue at all. He's a really good kid. All right, so now if you go to your next page, this is our spring basketball bylaws. And it's not super in-depth. This is just a little something that we wrote up a couple years ago, and we try to follow it. It has, you know, what size balls we use. We do use girls ball for that 5th grade in up division. And then gameplay. This is where the other change that we had to do in that K5 through 2nd. So it says games are to be played in 4 6-minute quarters. For the K5 through 2nd grade, because you each have another player on your team, and we've never played with 7 players, you're playing 3-on-3 basketball, and it's hard when you have 4 players sitting on the bench to get everybody some playing time. So we decided to go ahead and extend your quarters. So you're going to have 4 8-minute quarters, and that will help you get more playing time, and I'll go over that down below. For the 4th grade and down divisions, it's running clock, and you get 2-minute breaks in between each quarter. You also get, we get about 5-10 minute halftime, depending on how we're doing with our schedule, and depending on when our devotion is that night. There are no timeouts allotted for any of the teams. Your timeouts are just your 2-minute break in between the quarter. And with a running clock, it goes pretty quick, so you don't really need timeouts. 5th grade and up, the clock is a normal JV basketball game clock. So every time the ball goes out, the clock stops. For foul shots, the clock stops, that kind of thing. Whenever the ref blows the whistle. Overtime. And this is for all the divisions. All we do is set the clock for 1 minute, and the first team to score wins. We just really set that clock to try to get some rush and some motivation in on the teams. But as soon as anyone scores, that's who wins. Because we don't have a lot of time for the night to go ahead and do a normal overtime basketball procedure. player assignments. K5 through 4th grade, players are given colored wristbands based on their age and skill level. So we do the wristbands because our divisions are broken up. You know, that first division, you're having kindergartners play against 2nd graders. So sometimes, once in a while, you'll have a kindergarten that's just as good as a 2nd grader. But the vast majority of the time, you're going to have these little tiny kindergartner girls, and they don't need to be playing against your rough and tough 2nd grade boys. So coaches, before each game, just kind of talk about, you know, who your high skill level players are, and maybe your more lower skilled, here for the party kind of players, and just discuss what colored wristbands you're going to do throughout the game. A lot of times we do the darker wristbands, and I have no idea what our wristband colors are this year, but the darker wristbands are for your higher level players, and then the lighter the color goes is for your lower level, and you guys can just keep to that, but just make sure you discuss that before each game. And where was I? Oh, and those, yeah, so those wristbands are, and that's kind of on the refs to make sure they are only guarding the player with the wristband. So if they have a blue wristband, they need to be guarding the person with the blue wristband, not the one with the yellow, for those reasons, okay? And then again, that, oh, and I just see I made a mistake. It says 6th and up. That should be a 5th and up. So 5th and up players are allowed to play zone and man defense. Again, a normal JV basketball game. So that's up to the coaches what kind of defense they play. Playing time. Each player will play a minimum of 2 full quarters. That is for your 3rd and 4th grade division this year. So that's super easy for you guys. You know, Paisley, my daughter's in that, so she can play 2 quarters. If you have her play the 1st and 4th quarter, then she needs to sit out the 2nd and 3rd quarter. Because this is, these kids are learning. Okay, so you might want to, you know, play your best players all 4 quarters, but this is not JV or varsity basketball. We're not putting, you know, more playing time towards higher skilled players. We are teaching and we are developing skills for every player. So because that lower division had to go up to 8 minutes, it kind of rounds out to about 4 minutes per player. Coaches, I do not expect you to have a stopwatch and you put a player on the court and you click the stopwatch and watch in 4 minutes, you got to come out. That's too difficult. But I want you to do your best to try to make sure that the playing field, playing time is even across the board. Nobody should go through a game and not touch the basketball court. But this is your loophole, coaches, okay? If a player is not listening to you and a player is not listening to the ref, you do exactly what we do for varsity, and they get benched and they lose their quarter, or they lose their playing time, their 4 minutes, or, you know, that 5th grade and up. They come out of the game and they have lost that playing time. And then some players can't keep up with a whole quarter, and that's fine too. If they need a break, they need a break. I don't expect you to run them in the ground. If they ask for a break, then they give up that quarter. They give up those 4 minutes playing time that they were allotted. Same thing with being overly aggressive. We don't want anyone to get hurt. If they need to just sit down for a couple minutes, calm down, and then they can go back out into the game. Or if they get hurt, obviously you need to pull them off and they have lost that allotted time to them. Rules. All teams will follow standard basketball rules with some accommodations given to lower levels. Obviously, the lower the level, we don't call every travel, we don't call every double dribble, and I'll go over that in our ref video. Just keep in mind, you know, we're teaching them. We definitely don't want anyone hurt, and for those lower levels, we do call fouls. If they're, you know, hitting somebody or pushing somebody, we call a foul. There's no foul shots or anything. The ball is just turned over to the other team. Again, the 5th grade and up division is played with standard junior varsity rules as followed by the FHSAA rules. Okay, and you can look those up. All right, next is your court schedule. And that just tells you what team you're playing that night and which we split our court down the middle. There's an A court and there's a B court, and you'll figure out which court you're on right there. We play each team twice, except for that upper division. They play each other every single week. And then I have also our, I have scheduled on March 17th, Mr. Sadler for our devotion at 6 p.m. halftime. And then March 24th, I have Mr. Stephen Lambert scheduled for our 6 p.m. Halftime devotion. And then I have Sammy Monier scheduled for on April 6th at 7 p.m. for our halftime devotion. And I don't have the other one scheduled just yet. I have one more person I have to talk to. And then the next two things are just some materials that I gave you. And you feel free, coaches, to go make copies of these at our school copier. Or Miss Kim, you can give Miss Kim at the front. She can make copies for you if you want those. They're just some materials. If you don't have to use them, if they work for you and help you out, go ahead. And then the last one, if anyone gets hurt in a game or practice, this is our accident form. If you just do me a favor and fill that out, I can turn it in and take care of everything else. But it's better for a coach to fill it out because you saw what happened. And you know, if you have a question, if a accident report needs to be filled out, just go ahead and ask me and I'll let you know if it's something that needs to be taken care of. But that is it. I'm going to hurry up and end this video because it's going to take me forever to upload. Bye.